Hello there, terrible attempt at camera focusing back again. Going through the second box of the memories and childhood things. Let's just get into it. It's a lot of characters for a sort of superhero series that I actually still, to this day, started coming up with it when I was about 18, I'm 27 now, and I just use it as a method of escapism. Just before we get too into it, because there's going to be a lot of drawings here, I started drawing when I was about 6 years old. Obviously they weren't very good. I went through 3 or 4 major drawing styles. I stopped, I want to say like 2.5 years ago. And I tried that for a while, and I did some freelance cartoon designs for kids' books and educational slides and that kind of thing. And I don't know the specific point or the specific reason. I was actually working on a pretty big project up until only a few years ago, so it definitely must have been this cut off. I think it was just a change in circumstances in life that made me go, this is not sort of the spirit of how I feel in terms of creativity anymore. Colourful, cartoonish style, child-friendly drawing. So I stopped drawing, mostly. I've drawn 1 or 2 things since then. If I ever got incentive to draw, then I probably would do it again. Here we go. Ooh, this is my annual pupil report, July 2003. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I shouldn't have had to do the maths for that, but that was 16 years ago. I went to Claypool Primary School in Horwich, Bolton, my hometown, which I'm far away from. I very rarely get to visit there, a couple of times a year. That was sort of the logo of it. Let's read through what my teacher had to say about me when I was 11 years old. I had 10 authorised absences, but no unauthorised ones, which is weird because I know I found it difficult getting to school sometimes. However, I never went to class in high school, which is part of the reason I dropped out, because when my anxiety started coming about in high school, I just didn't want to go, and my mum said okay, which eventually, me being off school for like 2 months in a row, they just called up and went, okay, I guess don't be in school anymore. Primary school was the happiest time of my life, and I loved going. Loved. So the general comments. Gavin, I'm hoping this isn't too positive so that I just don't come off as an egotist. Let's see where, and I'm interested to read this to see what positives and negatives to me in my life and who I am now, and what negatives might be positives. Gavin is a pleasant and friendly member of the class. He's very talented in areas of writing, drawing, and acting. Still here on camera, babe. Still here on camera. Gavin works hard in class, though he can sometimes become too chatty. I know obviously I appear chatty on camera because, well, what am I going to do? Just sit in silence? That's what this is for. But I can be chatty nowadays, but it depends on the circumstance. I'd say if I ever have to be outside and sober, I just don't like talking, to be honest with you, nowadays even. Gavin is very eager to please. Still am, unfortunately. And he's a very confident child. Fuck. Gavin does not always have friends he can play with at break times, and this is something that can upset Gavin. Now that's weird to hear, because I remember, and again, I don't want to come off as like egotistical, I remember being very popular in primary school. I was kind of the class clown, and I remember for a couple of years near the end, it was me competing with this other guy to be the class clown. It was very strange. I think I know why this might be, is because my best friend, who I did develop like playground games and things with, left at the beginning of year 6, and he was there for like 4 years beforehand. So this is the year where he wasn't in class with me. So maybe with him not being there, I just didn't really know what to do with myself on the playground. Gavin does relate to adults and other children well. It's true. It's still true. And everything in between, is what I can't relate to. I can't relate to teenagers. I sure as shit can't relate to young adults and 20-somethings, which is probably why I was happier as a kid. I'm hoping that maybe I'll hit my stride again when I get quite older. I can get in with an older crowd. It has been a pleasure to teach you again this year, Gavin. Keep up the cartoon drawings. Oh no! I let Miss Pilkington down! I stopped drawing! I'll whiz through the next ones because these are specific classes. English. Gavin is working above the expected level of attainment for a child of his age in all areas of English work. Gavin works hard in literacy lessons. His handwriting is neat, fluent and clear. I have the same handwriting today as I had when I was 11, and I can tell you that it's never been neat. Gavin's style of talk engages the interest of the listener, and he has a knack of making the listener feel at ease. You'll have to let me know if that's true. Gavin is able to ask questions, to develop ideas and make contributions that take account of others' views. I'd like to think that's still true, but nowadays in 2019 they just call it being on the fence, right? They just call it being a dirty centrist. They don't call it taking everyone's feelings into account and viewing people as humans, taking account of others' views and feelings. They just call it, you're not on my side, you're the enemy. Gavin can use inference and deduction. Well, I don't even know what that word means anymore. It's a shame to hear this, because as with about 2.5 years ago, I had to come to the realization that I didn't like drawing anymore. About a year ago, I had to come to the realization that my mind, my brain, isn't as strong as it used to be, especially in terms of writing. This is all accurate. I used to be able to write at a much higher level grade than most people and read. You expect someone to get smarter as they get older with things like learning extra words and becoming more fluent in the English language, but I've actually got much worse at it. I've recently taken up crosswords to try and do some mind exercises to try and keep me a bit more alert, because I can sort of feel it slipping. Gavin enjoys maths lessons, and he's working at the expected level of attainment for a child of his age in all areas of math work. Gavin can use his understanding of place value to multiply and divide whole numbers and decimals by 10, 100 and 1000. I'm not gonna read through all this one, but I just want to make a comment. I hated maths, but on multiple occasions I was the best at maths in my class. I got a letter home for no reason, just from a maths teacher at high school. I got a letter home because the teacher just wanted to tell my parents how good I was at maths, and my mum opened it and she called me down and she was like, I've just got a letter saying like you're the best in your class at maths from one of your teachers. I looked my mum in the eye. I looked her in her deadites, right? And I went, but I hate maths. Science. Gavin is working above the expected level of attainment for a child of his age in science. Why do they all start like that? Works well as part of a group, carrying out an investigation. That's because in my entire life, I'm always the one carrying the groups. It's still happening in university. It happened in high school. It happened in late primary school. It happened in early primary school. It's happened in work, and it will happen till the day I die. I carry everyone else in every group I'm always in. Gavin is able to name the various parts of the plant and explain their purpose. I can't anymore. Well done, Gavin. You have worked hard. Clearly not hard enough, because my brain has since melted. Here we go. This is a relevant one. Gavin is a thoughtful and creative artist. He produces work of a very high standard and always ensures he takes time, puts a lot of effort into his videos. I'm sorry, I mean artwork. Gavin can use a variety of materials effectively and has created lovely figures in movement and a container that will hold a wish. As an obese child, one of my least favourite subjects was physical education. So let's see what my PE teachers have to say. I know this one's going to be shit. Gavin does not always enjoy PE lessons, and he very rarely has his PE kit in school. Managed to perform well in the hurdles. You know what? That's weird because hurdles, obviously, I'm 5'4". I'm a very, very short guy. And I've always kind of been short, apart from, well, I would have been short in this class, but I was not short in year 2. In year 2, weirdly, and this is never going to happen again in my life, and I lament it, I was the tallest kid in class in year 2. But my mum gave me a mushroom cap haircut, so I still look like shit. I either look like shit because I'm short, or I look like shit because I've got a shitty haircut. Now I'm both, obviously. But I was short, so it's weird to hear that I'm good at hurdles. However, I remember in year 5 also being weirdly good at basketball. And this was without people patronising me or anything. I got into basketball. It was very weird. Other experiences and opportunities. It has been great that Gavin has been a member of 2 clubs this year. Gavin has enjoyed being a member of chess and cross-country clubs. I remember the cross-country club, actually. We went around the neighbourhood. I don't remember chess in primary school, but I remember chess in high school, which does not bode well for you in high school. Now, one thing that won't be mentioned here, and I wish I still had the badge, we were the oldest class in the school as like year 6, and the teacher came up with an initiative for our class to start that was basically a sort of conflict help initiative. So our class as year 6 would take it in turns, pairing up each day for like a 2 or 3 week cycle, and 2 students from year 6 would sit at a desk in the middle of the playground at lunchtime for an hour. And if anyone had like a problem or an altercation, like they were arguing over the lunches, or someone accidentally like fell and hit someone else or something, or someone was being bullied, that was the big one obviously, they could come to the desk and speak to other students about it, so they weren't as intimidated by adults. They could speak to an actual peer, like another kid. And I remember actually it was called peer mediation. And I remember they made badges for these people to wear, and we all like brainstormed, right, in a couple of classes on how this should be done. And I remember I came up with like the name for it and the logo for it, and that logo got printed onto like 30 badges, like genuine like on badges with my drawings on them. And then all these students wore them at break time. Like I stole one and brought it home, but I don't think I have it anymore. Which I never really got much credit for, even though I should have. But no, I remember that as a very strong memory, because obviously I felt very accomplished, and that I was actually getting involved with something and helping move something along. If I put, and it's talking about all these extracurricular clubs, and it's weird because it's actually been my week off work this week, and it's Thursday, and this is the first video I've filmed, and every night every day I've gone, okay, wake up tomorrow, film something, and I genuinely enjoy filming things for this channel, but I have such a lack of motivation. It's like, or I could just like enjoy my time off and close my eyes and daydream in bed, which is the thing I spend most of my time doing. Obviously I've pulled my finger out on Thursday finally, but it's just weird. Oh well. I got a thing from the head teacher. Actually, this is deputy head teacher Atkinson, because I know he was not the head teacher. The head teacher was Mrs. Evans. Gavin is a cheerful, fun character that will be sorely missed around school. This is a fine report, Gavin. Best wishes for the future. Keep in touch. Date the 1st of July 2003. I didn't keep in touch, and it's a shame. I don't know what happened to a lot of those teachers, obviously. Sometimes I wonder what happened to my college teachers, because they were really good guys too. Because my college class drove them out. They all literally quit the year after our college class, because our college class was a mess. It's annoying because I don't think I was part of the group that did that, but being part of the class, it just made me feel bad, made me feel partly responsible. I know the head teacher, the head mistress, sorry, unfortunately died. I think she had a heart attack many years ago. I remember hearing about it in the papers when I was in my teens. So, shame about that. She was a lot of fun. She was a huge character. She was very religious, so we all had to sing hymns in the morning. But she was a great person, Mrs. Evans. This is what I think about my own progress. 11 years old. Last great year for Gavin. I like my progress in English, but I should like to get better at different sorts of maths and science. I would also be glad to find someone with the same interests as me and become friends. Fuck's sake. Bolton is an offshoot of Manchester in the northwest, and it's a place that's very, obviously being small town and also up north, it's very cloistered. People are really into the same kinds of things. Football, when you get older, beer, very specific music. Nobody really likes like metal or rock up there. It's all sort of just, mainline music. And I think this was a year when I was starting to turn into the person that had a lot of very different interests. I was into things that just weren't even mostly available in that town, like video games, the idea of comic books, rock music. I was really into. Started growing my hair out, which was rare. Most kids had buzzed hair. These are the targets I have set myself. Getting to know a few more friends. What's sad about this is this was the year before first year high school. And first year high school fucking plummeted in terms of popularity and sociability. Everyone hated me in high school. Nobody wanted to be my friend. I was fucking weirdo. And yes, by the way, I'm recognizing it here and I mean what I said. My handwriting is the exact same. I'll take some pictures of this, but if anything, I would actually say that it's worse nowadays. I might write a sample sentence of how I write now so you can compare them. If anything, I think this is slightly neater than how I write today. Oh, parents. This is what my dad had to say. I am very pleased with Gavin's development through the years. This is an excellent final report and has worked hard to improve. I think this was like a year after my parents divorced, so I don't think I was living with him at the time. I remember we're in a parent-teacher meeting in college. He asked my teacher, does he even really need to go to university? Because he's obviously skilled, he obviously knows what he's doing with this stuff. Could he, with the qualification he has, could he just get a job now? I couldn't, by the way, because it's all about contacts in film and media industry, more than it's about qualifications. So even the higher qualification I'm working towards now won't get me a job once I leave. It might sound like bragging, all the teachers going, well done, you did great, and the grades saying, oh, Gavin's really good in this and that, but once you've grown up, your brain becomes completely different. You like different things, you're good at different things, sometimes you're not good at anything, and even though these are good testaments of great experiences, some of the best experiences, in terms of what you're capable of, it really all eventually counts for shit, so no signs for me. Now that was already quite long, and obviously I'm not very through the box, so I'm going to split this box up into multiple videos because I don't want to make one big long video as long as the last one was. I don't know where I'll put the cuts in because that document could just stand as a video on its own, my record of achievement.